So I'm just going to give you a small tour of the living room, and this is with the play bars installed behind the TV. It's a 55-inch Sony OLED TV, and here we have the main living room where I have my evening entertainment all set up. And this is it with the corner lights on the right hand side with the chimney breast, and on the left hand side is the TV in the corner of the living room. And just to see the full effects, so this is the play bars, and as you can see you get two separate units included. And if we take it out of the packaging, we can see that they're probably about 15 inches long, 15 inches wide, and there's some cable with it. So later on in this setup video we will see exactly how long each cable is. So I'll do some measurements for you just to make sure that you've got enough cable length to reach from your electrical point to behind the back of your TV. It's really annoying when you get some cables that are too short and don't really reach where you want them to. So I'll do some measurements for you later on. So there's the two bars unpackaged. As you can see, there's a bit of an angle at the base of the play bar, which allows you to tilt the play bars. And there you have a QR code on the cable, which you'll scan into the app later on, and that helps you to pick up each of the play bars. And here you have two discs which allow you to mount the bars onto them, which allows you to have them laid out vertically on either side of the TV should you wish. You get a small box, a small envelope with the manuals, quick startup guide, and you also get some sticky pads if you want to stick the bases down to your surface on either side of the TV. So we'll just pop those back, and then there's also an Allen key if you want to screw the bars into the circle mounting discs. Okay, and here we can also mount the play bars onto these discs, and then you can stick those onto the back of your TV. There's an electrical socket, a Euro pin, which we'll obviously put back into the box. And this is the actual power brick, which is separate to the unit, so you get one power brick with it. Make sure you've got enough room in your electrical socket. If you've got a multi-way socket, then make sure you don't have other sockets in the way. And you can see you've got 3 pins, or 3 sockets where you can insert the pins of the bars into them. So they just merely slot into each hole, like so. So really nice, simple design. Quite space saving as well, because it means you don't have to have a power adapter for each of the bars. And here we have another QR code. So you get one QR code per bar. So that way you don't get mixed up between which is your left bar, which is your right bar. Let the QR code do all the talking. Now this is the living room without the bar set up. So as you can see, quite dim behind the TV. Not really aesthetically pleasing. And this is just the regular screensaver that appears on the TV. And is if we have a quick peek behind the back of the TV, I've got my HDMI switcher there, and you can see that there's a kind of like a vertical stand. So this is my my console stand, which is on the back of my TV, and these vertical brackets, they are my stands for the TV. These are my HDMI sockets, one for the Blu-ray player and one for the Nintendo Switch. It's kind of a pain point is a lot of these modern TVs, they come with a maximum of 3 HDMI sockets. So one of these I've had to get an HDMI splitter. So another view around the back of the TV. You can see, get an idea of where I plan to mount the play bars. So I've got a few cable ties there just to show you my cable management. And here you can see there's a bit of a shelf. So what I can do is just place the play bars onto that shelf, and it means I don't have to use any of these circular sticky pads. You know, I don't really like to leave any sticky residue behind the back of my equipment. But as you can see there's an air vent just in the middle of the TV shelf, so I can actually bypass that. So on each side of the air vents, just pop those play bars on each side, and then can tuck the cable into that mounting bracket and just hold it in place there. Okay, that fits nicely in. And then that leaves the air vents clear for any heat to dissipate behind the back of the TV. And here's the other play bar, so that can go on the back of the TV again on the other side of the air vents, so I can rock that at different angles of the bar. So just finding the best placement. So yeah, that'll go nicely there, and again I can tuck that cable into the mounting bracket for some cable management. So I think that's the ideal size to put it there, and it shouldn't move because I never plan to move the TV away. So there's the other one in place. So that's kind of like a rough idea of how I'm going to place the play bars. And then a view from the front of the TV, you can see that there's no visibility. Right, here we have the cable length. So just using my electronic measurer, let's see how much cable they give you. So you can see the red LED, the laser pointer to the tip of the wall where the play bar is. That comes in at 2.27 meters, 2.3 meters. So that's quite a decent amount of length for cable. So just bear that in mind as a good indicator of how much you've got to play with from your electrical socket to your TV. So my electrical points are underneath the TV, so I can just take each cable which has got the QR code, and each code is unique to each bar, and then plug that in, and then voila, the light bars light up, so you can see that they are working. So they're just the standard kind of white lights at the moment, so they won't do anything until you connect the play bars to the Hue app. So taking my new Galaxy Fold 7 phone, just to give you a demo of the phone as well. If you go into the Philips Hue app, you can add the device to the app, and then there's an option to scan the QR code. So let's try that. And then just move your camera around in front of the QR codes until you see a yellow square, and then that should allow you to add that to your system. Just make sure it's the right one. So you should see an icon with the Hue Play Bars. If that's the correct one, then you click next, and then you can just connect the lights to the app and to the Wi-Fi. If you just give it a moment, and then you should be able to see some activity on the app, and this gives you the opportunity to rename your lights should you wish. And in this case, I think I'm just going to keep it as standard. So keep it the standard name, just give it a number 1, postfix the name. Once you're happy with that, click on next, and then this allows you to change the scenes or the lighting colours. So I'm just testing just to see whether the lights change colour according to my button presses on the app. So yeah, I can see they're working fine. Just have a play around to see what other options there are, just to make sure that they work fine. And then once you're happy with that, then you can go ahead and add your second bar. So here I'm adding that to what I call the silver room in my house. So if you take the second QR code, hold your camera in front of it, you should see a yellow square flash up. Once you see that, click on next. It allows you to turn on the lights and to see what you've connected to. So here I can call this Hue Play Bar number 2, and then save that. And then here we can test that the light changes colours according to the app. So this is Dreamy Dusk. And then just to test some other scenes, this one's called Blood Moon, Arctic Aura. So you can see that the lights are independent of each other. So scenes, they allowed the play bars to have separate colours. So once they you see them in your room, you don't always have the same colour. They kind of blend in and mix together when you see them on your walls and your ceiling. So that creates a really cool effect according to the scene. So here I'm just having a play around with the app, just make sure everything works okay, which it does. And then yeah, happy with that. So here we are with the play bars behind the TV. So I've kind of roughly put them behind the back of the TV, and then I'm just going to place them on top of the shelf like so, and then I can tuck that cable behind that vertical stand. So that stand is kind of where the Vaser stand is, the Vaser brackets. And then I can put the bar on the other side, just angle it upwards, and then I'm going to tuck that cable behind the bracket. As you can see, some light bouncing off the walls, which is really nice. And here's a view from the front. So this is just the normal standard kind of warm light that's giving at the moment. And that's my screensaver that I've got at the moment. So just taking a step back, let's see what it looks like. Yep, like a nice, warm, welcoming hue of light. And that looks really cool. Okay, so let's take out the Galaxy Fold 7 again. And then let's go into the app. Okay, so let's see what settings we can play around with, what colours can we have. So just make sure that the app can still pick up the 2 play bars. Good thing about the app on the Fold phone is you can have menus on the left and the right of the phone. Really nicely implemented. So choose the room, make sure the bars are on, and then select a colour scene. And as you can see, that's changing to a nice reddish purple. Yep, make sure that it turns on and off. And you can see it leaves a really nice kind of background on the white walls. Here's a view of my other lamp in the corner of the room. And just taking a step back just to see what the view looks like with the ceiling light turned off. So it combines with the standard corner lights on the other side of the room. It gives like a really cool effect. Just to give you guys an idea of what it looks like with some other colours. That's a cool mint colour, kind of like an aqua colour. And as you can see, this is a view of the rest of the room. Let's test out some other colours. So there's so many scenes, it's unbelievable. I mean, I've not really counted, but I would say there's probably about 30 scenes that you can choose from. And I think you can customise your own scene as well. But I'm happy just to select a standard one, just like that. And then just a quick walk around. So as you enter the room, this is what it looks like. Really nice, really welcoming. Can you imagine just kicking up your feet every night, putting on your favourite film with a nice background light behind the TV to really immerse yourself. And as you can see, it kind of highlights the ceiling as well and just complements the multicoloured lights of the play bar. Here's another corner lamp that you see there. And there's my Sonos surround sound speakers. So, although it's not a projector, I think, yeah, this is a room that I'm really happy with. That's just a view of the kitchen. And another view of the living room from the corner, just to see what it looks like.